What is up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. It's your two favorite girls. I'm at home, but looks like Kelly is not. Kelly, where are you?
I am in Vegas for March Madness. Going to be here for the next basically 10 days and then trying to figure out logistics. Maybe I can come see you in Louisiana for the Final Four.
Well, I know that I would love to see you. And on that note, I think we need to go ahead and jump into these games because last show, Monday, we usually were on about 30 minutes. It was like almost like a 50-minute show trying to get through Thursday games. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Loyola Chicago, Ohio State, pretty much a pick 'em. This Loyola Chicago team, in my opinion, is not the Cinderella team it was last year. They don't have Cameron Kurtwig, who single-handedly fucking ruined my entire bracket last year. That guy will haunt me for the rest of my life. But as I said, I don't think that the Cinderella team that they were last year, this Ohio State team, definitely has athletes, but they're not a trustworthy team. I'm not going to put my money anywhere. I lean Ohio State here, just out of pure athletics. Also, I'm with PFT. I think Sister Jean's a witch. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's really mean. Who doesn't love Sister Jean? Come on, you guys. Like,
Yeah,
she's just a little innocent old lady who just loves herself some college basketball, right?
What she wants you to think.
Ah, got it. No, look, this is a Loyola Chicago team that isn't as good as they were last year, but this is an Ohio State team that I haven't really been sold on this year, right? They lost 3 of their last 4 to finish the regular season, and then they got beat out in the Big Ten Conference Tournament right out of the gate to Penn State. Megan, something I was talking about with some of my boys this morning when I was trying to figure out, I'm going to do 3 dogs Thursday, 3 dogs Friday, and hopefully, depending on how things pan out, 3 dogs Saturday and maybe even into Sunday.
All right, let's go.
But so I'm looking at all these dogs a little bit harder, trying to figure out who can win their respective game outright. Now, this is a dog that's on my list, even though they're at a pick 'em. They're going to be, plus 100 over at the Barstool Sportsbook. I think that they can get the best of this Ohio State team. But on the flip side, where do we look at this from a perspective you and I spoke about on Monday? These teams that got knocked out early, whether it be the SEC tournament, the Big Ten tournament, the Pac-12 tournament, the Big 12 tournament, these bigger school tournaments, right, where we expect teams like Kansas, Tennessee, Auburn, Duke, all of these big-time names, Ohio State even, to do well. And when they don't, is it maybe a benefit? And I'm kind of wondering, did that benefit this Ohio State team? They got to go home. They got to rest, recover from some injuries. So that's kind of keeping me off Loyola here and making an actual play. And unfortunately for you guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Monday, the reason why the show took so long is because I love Thursday. I've got like 9 games on Thursday. As of right now, I've only got 4 games on Friday. So I think today's show will be faster just for that reason alone. But yeah, Megan, something I'm really thinking about here and trying to figure out, hey, did that benefit Ohio State, or did Ohio State just kind of show their true colors, at least from a defensive standpoint? Because we know offensively, this team is great. Problem is their defense is suspect. They turn the ball over a ton. They don't capitalize on turnovers on defense as well. And they don't defend the 3 ball. So something I'm looking at here as far as Loyola Chicago, they can shoot the 3. So I'll be back and forth with this one in the next 24 hours.
Let's hope that Sister Jean can conjure up something for you if that is the case. As I said, I will not be playing that game. Up next, Jacksonville State, Auburn. Auburn is laying 15.5, and between that Auburn defense and Jabari Smith, this should be an Auburn cover. I think that Auburn is one of the best teams in the country. Jacksonville State, can they get hot from 3? Yeah, but that Auburn's perimeter defense is going to be able to take care of that. This is a lay it or don't play it for me here with Auburn. Just as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Megan. And this is one of the games that I actually am going to get to the window on. I do the Las Vegas Review-Journal down here in Las Vegas. I worked for them way back in the day. It was actually my first job in sports betting. Kind of crazy to think about. My good friend Todd said, hey, do you want to do the challenge? I need 12 games. I was like, Todd, 12 games. How am I going to find 12 games? Well, sure enough, I found 14. So this is one of the ones. This is one of the favorites I mentioned on Monday that I thought I was going to get to the window on. I did bet Auburn here. I do like this Auburn team, and I do think they're going to benefit from losing in that first round of the SEC tournament to Texas A&M. They're going to be able to be more rested here. We know how much this team just dominates both sides of the ball. Now, one thing we do have to be careful about, those backdoor covers. When you're laying these kind of points, Jacksonville State shoots the 3 ball really, really well. And that is my only concern here. But yep, I did lay the chalk here with Auburn. So you and I are seeing eye to eye.
I like that. And maybe that will come into play here within the next couple of days in a parlay. You never know, guys. Be on the lookout. Sneaky money shots, girls. All right, up next, Montana State, Texas Tech. Strength of schedule comes into play here for me. Obviously, Texas Tech has had a much stronger strength of schedule. Montana State hasn't really played anyone elite. But, man, 15.5 with this Texas Tech team. I loved it. I love Texas Tech, but I don't know if I can lay 15.5 here. I think I'm more worried about the backdoor with Texas Tech than I would be with Auburn. But maybe Montana State first half would be the play. I feel like if they hang in, it's first half. I feel like if anything else, and I haven't been giving out a lot of my first half plays, but I don't know why. I've given out one and it's hit, but they've been doing really well. I've been just kind of testing the waters, and I think I might start putting more of those out just because, man, if I can get some more winners on the docket, that would be nice. But what are your thoughts here, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm with you on those first half plays, Megan, and that's kind of what I started doing. Remember when I was bitching about, 6 weeks ago about how these dogs were looking so great in the first half and they were just collapsing. So, of course, I started betting first halves. And what happened? They were making second half comebacks. So that being said, I kind of was trying to find a healthy balance. And as I mentioned in my blog right after football season, I'm going to try not to lose all my money in college basketball because we still have NBA around the corner. And, it's important to protect that bankroll. I'm hoping to have a really good March Madness. Feel like I'm seeing the board really well here. I like a ton of games. I do like Texas Tech, and actually they're in my Final Four. I get a lot of people, oh, Kelly, show us your bracket. I don't care about brackets, bets over brackets all day long, but people are going, well, what's your Final Four? Texas Tech is in my Final Four. We know I love this defense. Megan and I have been high on this team.
I have them winning it all. I know it's crazy. I was just trying to find some value.
I don't think that's crazy.
I have them winning it all.
Megan. Defenses win championships. I haven't used that one for a long time.
Look, that's what you were in my mind whenever that I was going through. I get down, I go, you know what? Maybe, because I get these gut feelings too. Because like I got kicked out of my husband's March Madness bracket group like 2 years ago because I won like back to back, and then COVID came. And they were like, well, shit, we don't need her in here anymore anyway. And I haven't been invited back. So thanks. Shout out to
it's like whenever I get kicked out of things, I just won my buddy Chad's, he calls it his pigskin. I got my 2 entries got first and second because that's how good my football season was. And he finally just paid me out, said, here, take this money to Vegas, yada, yada, yada. And he said he was getting emails from literal grown men bitching that I got first and second. And he's like, I booted them from the group. So I'm going to go ahead and need your husband to tell these men to grow up.
They're not even real gamblers. They just got their feelings hurt. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. I tell people this all the time. Actually, when I did an article for the New York Times way back in the day, they said, it's interesting about, being a woman gambler. I go, we're far less emotional than the men. And the guy kind of didn't know what to say. And he put it in the article, and it's just big facts. Sorry, guys. Don't bet with your emotions.
Big facts. I do bet with my emotions sometimes, though. All right, up next, Yale, Purdue. Purdue is laying 16. For me, this is another lay it or don't play it with Purdue. The Ivy League, why are we even talking about the Ivy League? I mean, whether it's Harvard, Princeton, Yale, whoever, and let's go ahead. Yale's on the no list anyway, so we can go ahead and just cut Yale out. So shout out to everyone that's gone to Yale. Apparently, we're not even allowed to speak about you, and you're bad people. So we'll just throw that out there. But no, in all seriousness, the Ivy League cannibalized themselves all year. Whether Princeton beat up on Harvard, and then Harvard beat up on Yale, and then this and that. I want nothing to do with it. Purdue, by all means, should go out there and smack as long as they don't take their foot off the gas. I think they could cover here. Not an official play, but definitely lean Purdue hard here.
I'd like to address the comments real quick. Tucker, I didn't say we're less emotional. We both are very understanding that we're emotional creatures. I said we're less emotional when it comes to gambling, i.e. we don't chase bets, i.e. we don't break TVs. I mean, I'll get fired up, but just because I get fired up doesn't mean I'm going to blow out my bank account. Have you not watched the Coin Boys? Talk about emotional gamblers. We were talking about them before the show. I think they're up like $4,500 and then all of a sudden give it all back. You can't do that. That's all I meant. So no disrespect. Welcome, Jake Koopman. You're late. You missed a few games already. As far as Purdue goes, Megan, I'm with you. But this Yale team, I remember last year watching this Yale team during March, and I believe they backdoored somebody. And I cannot remember for the life of me, and that scares me here. Purdue is on my long list. I think it is a lay it or don't play it situation. They do play pretty fast. And I think that that's going to be the interesting dichotomy here because Purdue on the other side plays really slow. Purdue, we know, can hit their three-pointers. They're one of the best offenses in the country. They got to make their free throws. If they make their free throws, they're going to cover this game because we know this is going to come down to fouling at the end. They don't make their free throws, the Bulldogs are going to cover, and everybody at the Sportsbook is going to go absolutely nuts because people are with us. They're going to lay it or don't play it here.
Yeah, and I don't see why they wouldn't. All right, up next, we have Delaware Villanova. Villanova is laying 15.5, and I feel a little repetitive here, but again, this is another lay it or don't play it. This team, I feel like, is hitting stride, of course, right at the right time. You have a veteran team. You have a veteran coach who's not only extremely handsome, but has taken Villanova to Final Four twice. This would be the third Final Four that he's striving to reach. Look, Jay Wright is a very sexy silver fox.
Megan, we've been over this. You and I have very different tastes in men. Jay Wright is not attractive. But hey, I'll just let everybody in the comments bonk you for that one.
You can bonk me all you want for Jay Wright. That's fine. Jay Wright can bonk me. But yeah, so I like Villanova laying the 15.5. Do I not like it? I would lay it or don't play it. Not official play yet, but I like Villanova.
I think you got to be careful here of Delaware. They're pretty sneaky good offensively. Now, while on the KenPom rankings, it doesn't appear so, they're one of the best effective field goal percentage shooting teams in the country. They can hit their three ball. They make their free throws. Their defense is a little sus, to quote Megan, and that's what scares me. Otherwise, I would be all over the Blue Hens here. I think this is too many points for Villanova. And we all know how mean Kelly's been about Villanova. I think there's been a couple of Big East.
Villanova's going to come out and just fucking blow the doors off of them and just to remind you who that they are. It's Villanova.
They do have that ability. I mean, offensively, we've seen it before. The problem is the time of possession, the tempo they play at. This is a big ask. Megan, when's the last time they blew somebody out? Butler, early March. Prior to that,
yeah,
they haven't really blown anybody out. DePaul back in January. That's my only concern.
They're waiting for March. Don't worry. They're just waiting for March.
No, they blew their load in the Big East tournament. I think that to try to prove that, they should have just given it to Creighton, let Creighton win it, and instead they elected to go and win another one. Congrats to Jay Wright, but this is too many points. I'm not on Delaware. They were on my long dog list. I just don't think they can win outright. And that's what I'm looking for this first round. I want to see these major upsets. I want to see, double-digit dogs and who can win. I think Delaware is going to give this team fits, but I don't think they can win outright. I lean towards the Blue Hens plus the points.
Lean towards Blue Hens, and I think Nova is going to get the job done potentially. 15.5 is a lot, though. Whenever I was looking at this morning, literally it was back-to-back from Auburn down. 15.5, 15.5, 15.5, 15.5. It was like they've moved a little.
And honestly, Megan, I think in my opinion, I'm looking at power ratings. My boy Kenny shares his power ratings with me, and he is just absolutely nails when it comes to the math side of things. And so instead of trying to outsmart myself, I utilize some of the stuff that he's given me. And this is the time where the bookmakers know, right? It's the first week of the opening tournament. They know that 90% of the people walking up to that window, 90% of the people logging into those apps know Purdue. They know Villanova. They know teams like Duke. They know teams now like Texas Tech, and they're willing to lay those big numbers. So the bookmakers are kind of charging you a premium. Like I said, this line should be 14. So at 15.5, I think it's a few too many. Right here in the comments, Drew Morrissey even says it. He goes, this looks like a low possession game. And that's what I mentioned in regards to the tempo. So just kind of saying buyer beware. That's all. Of course, Jay Wright, Villanova, by all means, should blow this team out. I just don't know if they have the ability to do so.
All right, so Kelly leans Blue Hens. I lean Nova. On to the next game, which is Miami, USC. USC is laying 1.5. And I'll tell you what, I know that this USC team has had a strong strength of schedule, but I do not trust them. I just don't trust this team. One team that has done right for me as of recent and has been playing very well, Miami. Their offense has been explosive. And guess what? I like Miami on the money line here. I think that they're going to get it done over this USC team. I just don't trust USC, and I think they go and they shit the bed here in round 1. What do you think, Kelly? You think I'm crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. This is a USC team. You hit the nail on the head, Megan. I don't trust them. And I don't trust them laying points. More notably, on these shorter spreads we spoke about on Monday, right? Between the threes, where they could be a potential coin flip type game. I need a team that can make their free throws. This team is not that team. And they are so frustrating to back, especially as a favorite. No qualms about betting them as an underdog. Them as a favorite, I cannot trust this team. I don't know if I can fully trust Miami either. They're going to get smashed on the boards here, at least on paper, right? They do have some decent experience. Their bench, they really lack some depth. I'm going to just stay away from this game. And it's probably for the best. I could see this being like some type of like fuckery happening in this game where USC accidentally fouls late because they're undisciplined. And next thing you know, Miami misses both free throws or whatever it is.
I can't do that. After Wyoming, I'm not going to. Nope.
My God, I was on the plane. I'm so glad I didn't get to see that game. I was just following along on Twitter and the Score app. And I swear, how infuriating. Not only was their best player just completely absent, the ref show that was going on. And the best part, how I knew it was the refs, both people, I knew people that bet Indiana, I knew people that bet Wyoming, and both sides were bitching about the refs. That's how you know the refs are bad.
I don't even want to talk about it. That's why I waited for a second to bring it up. I'm still extremely sour. I yelled fuck last night really loud. Both my kids were like, what happened? Like, thought that I was like I dropped something on my foot, or like it was.
You don't tell them the truth?
Yeah, of course I told them the truth, but I was in the other room. They were in their rooms with their doors closed. And like my son comes out and he's like, what's wrong, Mom? Are you okay? And I'm like, physically, yes.
Physically, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, up next. So you lean USC? Is that what you're lean there?
I don't. I'm gonna stay away from this one, Megan.
She's staying away. And I like Miami on the money line. I think they're plus 104. Just think that they're going to be gritty and on a team that might be overlooked a little bit in the tournament. Speaking of teams that were overlooked for a while, man, Virginia Tech, Texas. These Hokies have been hot as hell. Another team that I don't trust, Texas. I will let you guys know that I like Virginia Tech here. I like them on the money line, minus 104. I just don't trust Texas. But this Vatech team, I'm not stepping in front of them. They have gotten hot. They have been the team that they're supposed to be. Have been. I don't know. English could be fucked up there. I don't know. Don't quote me. But yeah, I like Vatech here.
I lean Vatech here at the current number, Megan. We're seeing, I think it's still +1 at the Barstool Sportsbook. My good friend Chris texted me on Sunday and said, why aren't you sitting in front of your computer getting the best of the numbers, KIV? And I said, because I haven't had a chance to handicap these games yet, Chris. And he said, you got to take Vatech right now. You already know what's going to happen here. So I did get the 2.5 with Vatech, thanks to his text. And I figured, look, worst case, I can come back and I can play Texas on the other side. I've either got a nice middle or I bet Texas for more if I decide I like Texas. I don't like Texas here, but at the current number, I think we're sitting at the right spot, right? This looks like a 1-point game. Either way, you mentioned Vatech. They've been hot from three-point land. They have a great offense. They have a solid defense. They control the pace of play here. I don't trust Texas either. I will say this, however. Chris Beard is an excellent coach, and I do think he will have his team ready. But if they're ice cold from three-point range, they are going to be in a world of hurt. And that is why I don't trust Texas. I do think that Virginia Tech winning the ACC tournament did us no favors in terms of line value here. And I think that's why we saw them get bet down immediately, right? The very first game, they go to overtime with Clemson, barely escape, and then they just went on a freaking tear, turned around and beat Duke by 15. That's in everybody's brains headed into this week, and that is my one concern. I don't like when a team gets overvalued due to recent form because the bookmakers are already banking on people betting that. So just a little concern, just a little asterisk. I did bet them. Don't be mad at me if I come back on Friday and say, hey, now Texas is +1 and I'm going to bet the other side. So that's just something that may or may not happen. But at the current number, I'm going to say pass, but know that I do have a Vautech +2.5 in my pocket.
All right. Up next, we have Chattanooga, Illinois, and I have loved betting this Chattanooga team all year. This was 7.5 earlier whenever I was looking at these numbers, and it has now jumped all the way to 8.5. And I'm not going to lie, I agree with it. I think that Chattanooga is not going to handle Kofi. I think Kofi absolutely goes off in this game. I think Illinois is just going to be able to go out there and beat up on this Chattanooga team a bit. And again, I've bet on them a lot. They've made me a lot of money. I just think that the level of play, just two completely different teams. And I thought the line was a little soft at 7.5, and obviously I was right because it jumped right up to 8.5.
I don't know what to make of this game, Megan. I'll be really honest with you. We all know that I'm a big Brad Underwood fan. I would love to see him come back to Manhattan, Kansas and coach my Kansas State Wildcats. But unfortunately, I think he's just going to use them to get a bigger contract at Illinois because K-State can't afford him. But here's what he's got to prove. He's got to prove to people that he can win big games. This is not a big game. I don't know how focused this team is going to be, and that is a concern of mine. They lost round 1 of the Big Ten tournament to Indiana in a game where I was on Indiana, but they just looked so lackluster offensively. And overall, this has been a solid offense all year round. They can shoot the 3 ball. They're one of the best effective field goal percentage shooting teams in the country. They tend to turn the ball over from time to time, but outside of that, they're solid. I have to ask, why did they lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament? And this goes back to the same thing we've been talking about this show and on Monday. These teams don't care. Was it a not care, or was it they wanted to be more rested? I don't know, because these tournaments are so late now that there are a lot of factors like Baylor, for example, which we'll get to later on. It's just kind of like one of those things like, well, they were beat up. They were injured. Did they really need to win the Big 12? They already won the Big 12, right? They shared the title with KU, and I don't know what to make of this Illinois team, and that's why I can't lay the points. I know that you followed Chattanooga several times this year. You mentioned them so many times on the show. I haven't watched a single one of their basketball games, and that's just facts. So I'm going to pass here, but slight nod to Illinois, but I would really love to get some insight. You guys know anything in the comments? You got some good inside information. What's going on in the locker room? Because I sent out a couple DMs that I know, some guys that were in Manhattan with Brad, in Stillwater with Brad. Anybody got some information on how motivated this team is, where their head's at, what happened in the Big Ten tournament, and kind of be able to take that information and say, okay, cool, here's my thoughts for them for March Madness. Because I think they could be a Final Four team. When they're playing their best basketball, this team is just nails. And when they're off, they get blown out by Purdue. They get beat up by Rutgers. They lose in a stupid home game to Ohio State. I just can't quite figure out this team.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I have no official play, but I was definitely leaning Illinois, especially at the 7.5, now at 8.5. I don't know. I'm probably going to leave that one alone. As I said, I've loved Chattanooga, but I do think this is just two totally different teams. Speaking of two totally different teams, you got Duke and Cal State Fullerton. Duke is laying nearly 20. They're laying 19. And man, I get it. Duke can put up points in a hurry, but their last game at home for Coach K against UNC got absolutely smacked, then dropped the ball against Vautech. So how motivated is Duke going to be to win by 20? I think they're just trying to get past this first game. I mean, I understand they need a good bounce back spot to really beat up on a team, but all the pressure is on them. There's no pressure on Cal State.
Nailed it.
And they're literally catching fucking 20 points, essentially. I guarantee you this line gets back to 20 because everyone's going to want to be on Duke after those last 2 losses and Coach K's last hurrah, this and that. I mean, I get it, but I will not lay fucking literally 20 points with Duke. I just won't do it.
No, you can't. But I don't know if I want to take Cal State Fullerton either. You're right. They have zero pressure on them, right? They're a huge underdog to a big name team that everybody's going to bet Duke. The whole world's going to bet Duke. They're going to bet Duke first half. Duke, if they're on from 3-point land, should be able to blow this team out because this team cannot defend the 3 ball. And that's my biggest concern here. But yeah, does Duke just need to survive and advance? Sure. Maybe Duke's problem was we don't really care about this last game. Sure, they probably wanted to beat North Carolina. I think North Carolina caught them off guard in Coach K's last game. But I do think that also Virginia Tech did too. I mean, they were a sizable underdog. Duke probably thought they had them. When you're a team named Duke, you're probably really cocky. You're expected to be in the Final Four, Megan. There are these blue blood basketball programs, fans, coaches, athletic department. They expect Elite 8 at worst. And that's kind of where the precedence gets set. Doesn't mean that this is a solid Duke team. They're good. I just don't think they're great. 20 points is a lot, especially in this tournament.
Yeah, I will be spending my money elsewhere. There's tons more games. And
Absolutely.
Speaking of spending money elsewhere, let's move on to Iowa State LSU. LSU is 3.5 at the Barstool Sportsbook. And yes, I am aware we do not have a head coach. A lot of things have happened
Isn't
this
it so funny he gets fired before March? I mean, if you're going to fire him at the end of the year, I just think that's so strange. Unless you're going to move the interim head coach into the current head coach position.
All I'm saying is I'm okay. A lot of changes have happened in the last year and a half, and I just have to deal with it and get through it. And
Been there,
done that, right? But I know this LSU team is motivated. And one thing that I know that they've been kind of hit or miss all year, but I know how talented they are when they are on, and especially when they're playing teams that like to self-inflict issues, if you will. And this Iowa State team turns the ball over constantly.
It's so frustrating.
14.8 turnovers averaged per game. LSU, by all means, should be able to take advantage of that. They should have, as I said, the motivation. I like LSU laying. I like them laying the 4. I like them laying the 3.5, and might even like them to throw in a parlay on the money line. LSU's not going to get blown out. They're not. It's just not going to happen. They're too talented. I like LSU. Again, I know that they're motivated. They're going to go out there and they're going to show everyone a good fucking team.
Yeah, I think the reason why this line was 4 is because it was basically inflated for how bad Iowa State looked in the Big 12 tournament, right? Not only did they look bad and get blown out against Texas Tech, they barely showed up against Baylor, and they didn't even show up at home. Their last game in Hilton Coliseum, one of the toughest places to play for so long as far as home court advantages. Remember, I was on Oklahoma State. I said, this line looks a little fishy. I'll take the dog, and it was no sweat. Defensively, they looked good. Offensively, you nailed it, Megan. They turned the ball over. I don't want any part of this Iowa State team. I think LSU should be able to win this game. I'm on board with you with LSU money line.
Yep, LSU money line. They are motivated. They're ready to go. As far as transferring, I haven't seen anything of that nature, and I've heard opposite. But no worries. Up next, UAB Houston. Houston's laying 8.5. And historically, this 5-12 has seen some upsets. And I know no one more than Big Cat would love an upset from UAB. I think that UAB is to play in the first half, but I think Houston is just way too good defensively and is going to be able to control the pace and maybe stretch this out second half. I don't like that I'm saying that, but dude, Will Wade is out. I have nothing to do with fucking any of what he did or what he didn't do. All I know is that this guy behind me won a national championship, and we didn't cheat. We didn't fucking pay anybody. So you can suck my dick. And happy March.
Happy March.
I would like UAB to upset Houston here, but I think Houston's one of the more talented teams in the country. And I think laying 8.5, I think it's about right. What are your thoughts here, Kelly?
Who stepped in front of this Houston team? Was it us in a parlay? Was it Tulane or was it Memphis? I can't remember.
It was one, and then they just
they just steamrolled whoever we put in our parlay, and it was embarrassing. And that's what I think Houston does, is they have the ability to turn it on. And then when they can turn it on, they're great on both sides of the ball. This is one of the better teams in the country. Ken Palm actually has them rated in the top 5. My buddy Kenny has them rated in his top 12. This is another slow, methodical team as far as like average possession length. We know that they can struggle to shoot the 3-point ball every once in a while, but more importantly, they struggle to make free throws. So I'm not laying it with Houston here. I would love to see some upsets. And you mentioned that historical 12-5 upset. We also see it with the 13-4s. There's a few fun ones, so keep an eye out for it. I would love to see UAB win this game. I just have not watched enough UAB basketball to definitively say that a team from Conference USA can come in here and win this game. If they're hot from three-point land, though, I think they can.
I agree. That's why I'm thinking UAB first half might be the play there.
Fair enough.
All right, up next, Davidson, Michigan State. You got Tom Izzo only laying 1 in the month of March. And guess who, again, is not biting? It's me. I'm not spending another dime on Michigan State. Not to mention, you have Davidson, who's been playing such smart basketball all year. And their best player is a transfer from Michigan State and has just thrived within that Davidson program. Now, my question is, do you think he goes out there and tries to put the team on his back and ends up fucking up? Or do you think he goes out there and plays smart Davidson basketball like they have been doing and they get the win over this Michigan State team in the first round of March?
Well, first of all, I just got a notification my computer's going to shut off, even though it's plugged into the wall. So I have no idea what's happening. It says it's charging, and now it's red. So if you guys lose me, I'm sorry. I promise I'm going to tweet all of these out. That being said, I'm not touching this game, Megan. You mentioned Tom Izzo, and I don't like to bet against Tom Izzo, usually in March either. Solid team, both sides of the ball. Davidson is one of those teams I never watched during the regular season. Never watched. Last time I watched this Davidson team was when they beat KU in like 2006 or something. But offensively, they're super solid. I do have my concerns about them as far as rebounding goes. Offensively, they're one of the worst rebounding teams in the country. Defensively, one of the best. This is a very Jekyll and Hyde team. I'm going to pass here.
All right, Kelly's passing. I will probably end up passing too, just because I don't want to spend any more money with Tom Izzo. All right, up next, you have Colgate, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is laying 8, and Wisconsin's coming off of back-to-back losses. I don't know whether this is going to be like a get-right game for them where they get in the groove of the tournament, but after back-to-back losses, I think that 8 might be too many for this Wisconsin team. Even against Colgate, who I don't want to, I have not watched Colgate basketball. I have not bet on Colgate.
You have not watched a single Colgate game, Megan? I'm so disappointed in you.
I'm sorry. I usually
be like on True TV or something.
It's where Impractical Jokers is as well. I've been told that 477 times. And this Wisconsin line was 7 this morning. That's what I had written down. So this line's jumped to 8. I like Wisconsin off back-to-back losses. I liked Wisconsin all year. Up to a point where I felt like then they peaked, and then they've been kind of on a little valley here. I think this could be a get-right spot for them for the tournament, though. I would say it's a lay it or don't play it, but I'll probably end up passing.
I'm going to pass. I'm going to tell you why, because Wisconsin frustrates the shit out of me whenever I lay points with them. The end. I don't know enough about Colgate. My computer's on 2%. Next game.
Next game and last game, TCU, Seton Hall. Seton Hall is laying 1. And,
Said yes.
Yeah, and we all know that Kelly and I have absolutely loved the Horned Frogs all year. We took them in our March Madness bracket, #Sling Sleepers, to get to the Sweet 16. And Kelly, I, and Ben will be splitting that 50K. It's 50K, right? Something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we got to beat Arizona though, so we're kind of fucked. But that's okay. That's beside the point.
It's besides the point. We're horned up. We're ready to go. TCU can get it done, and they're going to start it right here by beating Seton Hall. Seton Hall struggled against UConn. UConn had been on that skid, so that doesn't impress me much. If I wanted to quote Shania Twain there, so yeah, I like TCU, and I like them on the money line at -105 at the Barstool Sportsbook.
You know we love TCU. Take the better defense plus the point. They're going to win this game outright. They are not probably going to make my money line parlay because there's not really any value on the money line. If TCU does not turn the ball over, they have a shot to absolutely go deep into this tournament. This has been a sleeper team. They have some decent experience. They have tons of minutes that they play together, and they have a decent bench. Now, besides that, this team has been hot. I'm going to keep riding the hot hand. Go Horned Frogs.
Go Horned Frogs. That's all we have for today. Kelly's about to get out of here so she can go meet up with our friend Ariel. Also, finish your water. And we'll see you guys.
A lot of water to go before I meet Ariel because she wants to start drinking already. I got shit to do. Some of us have to work for a living.
Some of us. Yeah, we'll see you guys Saturday. I will be in all green, and Kelly will probably be green in the face from being so hungover. Either way, we'll still be here Saturday morning, pre-tip. Make sure you're back, and make sure you're betting with the Barstool Sportsbook responsibly. Fill out your brackets. Go do bench mob stuff in their bracket. There's so much stuff that you can do with Barstool right now. Make sure you're taking advantage of it. We love you. #Sling Sleepers. See you Saturday.